straighten this out. And he had one old deacon that was sitting over there, and all he ever wore was overalls. See, he's an old farmer. And he's sitting over there in the corner, and he hadn't opened his mouth. And Brother Jim looked at him and he said, Brother John, you hadn't said anything. What do you think is the solution to all the problems we're having with all the dissension in the church right now and all the complaining? And what do you think the solution to that would be? He said, well, it's always been my experience that a plowing mule ain't got no time to kick. And he's exactly right. A mule is working and plowing, he don't have time to kick. The reason we got people groaning is because they're not doing anything. And they're usually the ones that's complaining the loudest. We should have joy in serving God, and we ought to be praising God for what we have. And the fourth point I want you to see from this morning, the results of a rekindled passion for God. Look, if we're rekindled in our passion, there should be some wonderful results coming out of it. First, restored lives. A life that may be going down a wrong path will be restored to the right path. You'll see families restored. You'll see relationships restored. When someone gives their life back to Christ, when they recommit or they come to Christ and they've got a passion for Him, you see families restored. You see relationships restored. They begin to go to people and say, if I've hurt you, I'm sorry. They begin to try to reach out and heal those broken lives. There's restored relationship. There's a restored joy. There's an excitement about God again. There's restored congregation. Congregations that have become dry and people have begun to leave. You see that restored relationship with God, and you see restored congregation. Look, I don't know about you. I want to be somewhere where there's some excitement about God. I don't want to go sit in a morgue every Sunday. I want to be somewhere where there's an excitement about being there and about serving God. But so many times when we lose our fire, when we lose that passion, it's like sitting in a morgue. It's sad, it's dreary. It shouldn't be the case. Church should be a place filled with joy. You see restored congregations because people want to be where God is working. You see a restored commitment. People becoming excited again about serving God, and they recommitting their lives and recommitting to service. And you see restored excitement about being there. Robert Johnson had a rough beginning. His father died when he was very young, and his mother, who was unable to control his behavior, she sent him to London to study to be a barber. What he learned instead was drinking and gang life. He become an alcoholic, got very involved in gangs. Now, this is not something that's happened recently. We think gangs are something new. This happened back in the 1700s. He got involved in gangs, began to drink, became an alcoholic. He went with a group of friends to see a fortune teller one night, and he left there feeling very convicted. He heard that George Whitefield, who was probably one of the greatest evangelists that ever lived, was preaching a revival, and he asked his friends to go with him. So he showed up at Whitefield's revival that night drunk. But from his own words, he said he was immediately sobered up when Whitefield began to preach. He said because he was looking straight at me and preaching that sermon straight at me. You ever felt like that? I've been accused of that many times. You looked at me the whole service. I didn't mean to. But he felt like he was being preached directly at. And said that the words that he heard that night haunted him for the next 3 years. Until December 10th, 1755, when he gave his life to Christ. In 1758, at the age of 23, he wrote a song some of you may have heard called Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Again, somebody who had gone through so much, at the age of 23, when his life was turned around, realized all the blessings God had given him. Especially the blessing of grace and forgiveness. And you would think someone who had fallen so far, been lifted up, and wrote a song like that would never fall again. But he did. Like so many, he fell away from the faith. He met a young lady singing his song one day, and upon noticing his sadness and apparent despair, she began to share the lyrics of the song with him, telling him the hope that could be found through Christ and through the words of that song. Robinson's response to this woman was, "Madam, I wrote that song, and I'd give 1,000 worlds to have that feeling once again." The psalmist expressed the same desire in Psalm 85:6 when he penned, "Will you not revive us again, that your people may rejoice in you?" He said, "I would give 1,000 worlds to have that feeling again." Well, guess what? You may have had that feeling once. You may have lost that feeling. But through Christ, you can have that feeling again. Just as He breathed into the dry bones, when we're spiritually dry, He can breathe new life and new fervor into our spiritual lives. Let's pray. Father, as we come before you this morning, Lord, I pray that you will speak to our hearts. Lord, there's so many today that have lost their spiritual excitement. They no longer have that same commitment and fervor that they had once. Lord, they've allowed the problems of life or sin or many times people to squelch that excitement. And just like this dear man, they're saying, I'd give 1,000 worlds just to have that feeling. Lord God, may they know that there's restoration in you. Father, may they know that they can have that feeling again, that they can be completely restored if they're just once again surrendered to you. Lord, please speak to our hearts this morning. Lord, there may be someone here that has never come to know you as Lord and Savior, and they're saying, I would like to have that feeling. And Lord God, please break, Lord, whatever hold may be holding them back. Lord, may they come forward and receive that wonderful blessing this day. And Lord, we ask and pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. Would you please stand?